Who gets mesothelioma? Your genes play a part. Some mesothelioma researchers are proposing the genetic component to this aggressive cancer long associated with asbestos. At the Mesothelioma Applied Research Foundation's 2010 International Symposium, Jill O'Hart, MD of Wake Forest School of Medicine, reported on research that supported the possibility that people who develop mesothelioma may have a genetic susceptibility. Between 1940 and 1980, asbestos was an extremely common material in American industry, used in shipbuilding, aircraft fabrication, plumbing, insulation, railroad and automotive brakes and clutches, ceiling tiles, floor tiles, drywall, fireproofing materials, cement, and literally hundreds of other uses. An estimated 40% of the United States workforce, about 27 million Americans, was exposed in their workplaces to asbestos. The large majority of those exposed have not developed mesothelioma. The number of new mesothelioma cases identified each year has stayed constant at about 3,000 per year. The relatively small number who develop mesothelioma has led researchers to ask what might be the differences among workers who experienced the same exposure to asbestos between the majority who did not develop mesothelioma and those who did. O'Hart and her colleagues worked from their database of 5,000 people who had been exposed to asbestos, of whom 327 developed mesothelioma. They asked all of them about their asbestos exposure and their general health status. Their answers showed some very interesting patterns. Age of first exposure: those workers who developed mesothelioma tended to be younger at their first exposure to asbestos. In the 1940s, they were the young men and women who volunteered out of high school at age 17 or 18 to join the military or work in defense industries. Cells in younger people tend to be more vulnerable to carcinogenic cancer-causing agents. Even a few years delay, time spent in college or in work that did not involve exposure to asbestos, seems to have had a protective effect. Military service: mesothelioma patients were more likely to have served in the military. Service in the military increased the odds of exposure to asbestos. Other cancer diagnoses: mesothelioma patients were 3 times more likely than other workers exposed to asbestos to have had another cancer diagnosis at the time of diagnosis of their mesothelioma. This suggests a greater vulnerability, probably genetically mediated, to carcinogenic agents. Cancer in first-order relatives: people diagnosed with mesothelioma were also 3 times more likely than other workers exposed to asbestos to have a first-order relative, a parent, a brother or a sister, or a child who had a cancer diagnosis. Children of people with a mesothelioma diagnosis were 7 times more likely to have a cancer diagnosis. Permission is hereby granted to reprint this article as long as proper credit is given, including the information and links. About the author: Francisco Rodriguez. Do you need a mesothelioma lawyer? http://www.mesotheliomaattorneyfreeconsultation.com